morning. Happy Monday after a weekend of your sister visiting. How awesome is that?
I know. It was very short, long-lived, short. But oh my gosh, we packed so much stuff in. So I got to go to Dollywood for the first time. Good morning, Anna.
Good morning.
So we got to go to Dollywood. It was so pretty. I wasn't sure what to expect. I mean, coming from Florida and Disney and Universal, and I mean, I would love to have. My favorite is Halloween Horror Nights, which I guess they're not doing this year.
They are not.
Oh, yeah. So you got your Facebook stream going. So that was kind of sad, but the leaves are starting to change. So, of course, that's always fun. But Dollywood's so pretty. And what's different, I mean, the kids had a blast. And, going up to the top of the roller coasters, it's different than Orlando because you have the Smoky Mountains right there. So that's your view is just panoramic
beautiful
mountain views.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and everybody said the same thing. There was nothing about the rides, but when I say I'm going to Dollywood, there's something about the cinnamon bread that everyone said I had to go do. So, of course, that was our first stop to get the cinnamon bread. And I'm like, well, it's cinnamon bread.
That's kind of how I felt when we went to In-N-Out Burger. Everybody's like, you have to go to In-N-Out Burger. You have to go to In-N-Out Burger. And we went, and I was like, it's a burger.
Right. I don't know. It's a thing. I don't know. Whatever I had for lunch was definitely worth, I will probably crave it and have to go back to get whatever this loaded fries with, shredded pork or whatever on the top. But that was really good. And yes, the cinnamon bread was really good when I got to the bottom and there's all the glaze and juicy stuff. But I'm like, oh my gosh, carbs and the amount of sugar I probably intake we shared it, but it was a great day. The pumpkin luminite, whatever they call it, was pretty cool. It almost turned into a completely new park.
Oh, cool.
What we were at during the day, and so many things that we hadn't even seen during the day, and when it was all up. So cool. It was great. It was a lot of fun. Nice to kind of play a little bit, and this is definitely my month of playing on the weekends because it's
so beautiful. All right. So let's jump right in because we got a lot to cover this morning. So welcome everybody to our 2021 Recharge Reignite business planning. Obviously people I keep saying 2020 has been weird and different, and we've learned a lot, I think, about ourselves, about each other, about business. So we want to jump into our business planning. And remember, those people who plan their business are the people that are more successful. They keep up with their business plan all year. Every quarter you look at it, you might need to readjust. So this is about you putting your future in your hands. And it's not just business. We're going to look at health, career, finances, relationships with family and friends, intimate relationships, spiritual and emotional, recreation, and contribution. Because always here at REMAX Elite, we always like to give back, and that's an important part of who we are. So this is about us actively creating our lives and not letting it be created for us. I mean, in a sense, our lives are created for us, but we are in charge of our own destiny. And so we need to plan, in business and in personal each year so that you stay on track and you're getting what you want. So the first thing is you always need to say everything in the first tense. So as I get older, I tend to say things like, oh, I used to be cool. I used to be fun. But we want to say things that I am a super cool mom, or I am a super fun parent, or I am a super successful real estate agent. Whatever it is, make sure you're using the current tense in the present. And right, and not that you're going to be that in the future, although you want to continue to be it in the future, but you want to start doing it today, now, right?
I mean, it's all in that mindset. And I think we hear this with any coaching program that we do. So
right. Right. So, and then, and the thing to always remember that this is a commitment to yourself. So as you're making it and as we're going through it, um, be honest. Be honest. You know, it's funny whenever they take surveys, and I'll never forget this. This was like in the 8th grade. A police officer came in and was talking about drugs, and they gave us a survey, and the survey, you know, asked who's tried marijuana, who's tried alcohol, who's tried this. And, you know, we weren't putting our names on our papers, but when you have to write it down, sometimes it's hard to be honest. And I remember back in the 8th grade thinking, I wonder how many people are writing the truth down right now, you know, because it's, you know, do you want to admit that or don't you want to admit it? So be honest. And as you're writing things down, taking notes, just, you know, a blank notebook is fine. You should have gotten emailed all of this information. If you did not, let us know. We'll get it to you today. So we're going to start with the next page, which is think back, think forward, think inward, think outward. And this is all in preparation for our vision board, because to start your business planning, you need to get your vision and know where it is that you want to go. So the first section of thinking back, and I'm not going to go through all of this because you'll do some of this at home by yourselves, but this is going to help you to determine your vision board. What things, this is going to be a difficult one, what things did you love about this year? Great happenings in both business and personal.
And I think we've all learned and have so many takeaways. Like, as odd as this year has been, I think we've all had enormous growth opportunities as well, because we had to quickly learn how to adjust the sales of business and adapt very quickly to what was going on, whether it be, you know, I mean, we immediately had to go into Zoom calls, or, you know, I mean, luckily, you know, we kind of had that e-learning platform, but it became more of a necessity than just another tool.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think a lot of that, I think it actually helped those step up. You know, I mean, we started doing the Monday shows. A lot of the peers and all of the groups started just taking control and doing training to help others. I think it allowed a lot of us, I mean, I've seen with like Adam Contos and REMAX itself, just really step up the game and do all of these, you know, live webinars and just really, I think that for me is the biggest takeaway in this crazy year, was just learning new tools and learning how to adapt and what can we do to give back. And of course, you know, everything was just, there was so much uncertainty of just life in general. But I think a lot of us, we had to quickly adapt to this new world.
And it's amazing how quickly everybody did adapt. You know, honestly, everybody that I come in contact with, certainly people here at REMAX Elite, but even other agents, you know, everybody who seemed to just jump right in and go for it. You know, we kind of had no choice. So then the next thing is what did you not like about this year? And I'm not going to spend
there's a lot on that one.
So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that one. And a lot of those things are out of our control. So if you can't control, well, you can't control what you don't like, but you can control how you respond to it. And you can control how you make it into something you like, or that's something that is better. Next is what is your purpose for doing what you're doing? What is your why? Why are you doing this? Whatever it is, whether it's health or business or personal relationships or the giving back portion, what is your why for all of this? Once you figure out your why, it's so much easier to move forward. And somewhere along the way in my real estate career, I lost my why, mainly because I was going through a lot of personal stuff back in 2008. For those of you that remember, for those of you that don't, not really important. 2008 was one of the worst years ever in my life, and it sort of fell over into 09 and 010, which is a long span to have not really know what your why is. And by 2011, I got into a coaching program, and I found my why again, and it's been great ever since. So figure out what your why is. What have you learned about yourself this year? I'm sure we've learned a lot. What have you learned about yourself this year? And it's funny, really with us doing more video and doing more live, but where
Spit it out, Carrie. Spit it out.
I know. I'm like, oh, what am I trying to say? I've learned, like you said, Heather, we've been trying to do this for a very long time.
It's been on my vision board for for at least 2 years, and trying to find the time, the program that would fit what we're trying to do. And that quickly kind of came about, and it really kind of pushed us. And having my vision board, having my business plan, that this year for sure completely changed everything. As far as the end of March, the first thing I'm doing is what is my vision board? What can I do? Are we going to have a job? Like, there's just so much unknown. So I immediately go to what we did last year, and what can I do right now that my plan just had to change. And that was something on the plan. And yes, it's something that we can completely do. And that really was a lifesaver for me, and keeping a direction.
Well, and this is important, is Heather doesn't sell real estate. Business planning isn't just for those of us who sell real estate. And Heather even does a business plan for REMAX Elite as an office about what we're going to do for the year. It's not always about what your production is going to be or how much you want to make. I mean, there's much more to it. What things do you want to do? So that's really important. It's not just real estate.
I've always wanted a business plan, and I don't sell real estate, but it's even personal. I was talking about that with my sister because she thought that was weird that I would do a business plan and I don't sell real estate. And I'm like, it doesn't have to do with it could be career wise. What are my personal goals? Like, what do I want to do? Like, you're talking about you want to do this, this, and this. How do you plan on achieving that? Just on a whim? Or, if you have that vision of what do you want by the end of this year? What is your 5 and 10 year? I know I had the mountains on my vision board for the last 10 years. Like, I knew that was my futuristic of where I wanted to be, and seeing it every year was just a way to constantly visualize that. And what do I need to do to make that happen? Do I need to invest more, save more? I mean, there's so many personal aspects of all of this. It's not all about business. It's family time. Maybe I want to change my vehicle, or, I want to do a kitchen remodel, a bathroom. I mean, there's so many aspects.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because I met with one of our agents on Friday, and I said to him, he's new in the business, so it's hard to do your business plan when you don't have a benchmark for how much did you sell last year, what's your average commission. But I said to him, while you're doing it and you're working on your expenses, what is it that you want? Do you want a new car in 2021, or do you want a new car in 2022? That's important. That's important to get it in your plan so that you can work towards it. So then what were your mistakes? What would you like to have done differently? I don't know. I don't know that any of us had. I mean, I'm sure we all had a bunch of mistakes, but it just seems to me that a lot of people really rallied and got it going. And what was happening may have been the mistake, but everybody seems to have really jumped in and with this whole change. And then what are old habits that you need to get rid of? Look, and I'll tell you, mine is procrastination. So, which Heather knows. I mean, I left my house at 9:13 to get to the office to be here and ready to go live at 9:30. I just tend to, I like to push the limit, fly by the seat of my pants.
Meanwhile, I've been sitting at the computer at 8:30, like looking at everything.
I know. And I was answering emails and doing other stuff, but not this. So I always, and it's been my whole life, I want to be less of a procrastinator. I want to be less of a procrastinator. I can remember in the 4th grade, we were going to dinner at my aunt and uncle's house. My parents came home from work and were like, we're going to Uncle Joe and Aunt Aggie's. And I started crying. And my parents were like, why are you crying? I have a book report that's due tomorrow. My parents were like, oh, well, so sad. Bring the book with you. And if you can get it written while you're there, great. And my cousin Tommy, who's a lot older than I think like 12 or more years older than me. I mean, he helped me do it. It's like, oh my God, but that's a constant struggle for me. So now let's talk about thinking forward. What could you have done differently to have a better outcome? Right. So for me is obviously don't procrastinate.
And I think that has a lot, because I think some people are almost afraid of a failure, or they feel it has to be perfect, especially when we got to the video aspect. What could you have done differently to get better outcomes? I think sometimes we do that procrastination. We don't like the way we look, the way we sound. And I just, my vision is, progress, not perfection, because I think some of us were just afraid to fail. But I think it's all trial and error, and we learn as we go. And it's that progress will just lead to something better, and stop being afraid of trying.
Right, exactly. And that the whole thing about how you look on camera or how you sound, oh my gosh.
It was probably the biggest hurdle in us doing this.
Oh, totally. Even this morning, I mean, you saw me, I was like a train wreck with the hairbrush and running around and my hair is a mess. Oh my God. And then it's like, oh, well, I have to be live. Yeah. Anna, I'm the same way. I want everything to be perfect. And it's hard. And that stops me sometimes from doing what I want to do, because if my logo isn't perfect exactly how I want it, or our business planning book isn't exactly how I want it, I can't move forward, can't do the business planning event because we didn't finish the pages. I mean, we did, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, everything, you want it.
And we'll be learning from this in itself, because I mean, this is usually a full day event. It's structured a lot differently. We have a lot more pages that kind of give you a headache about your numbers, but it's, we don't want to not do it, but we can't really have a big event like we normally would. So, let's open it up. Let's go ahead and do this break it up into 4 sections, make the homework more fun, and make it. I mean, so we're going to be learning from this, but it was something like, well, we don't want to not do it, because it is a huge, important part of business in itself, personal, business, everything. So
exactly.
Let's go up, and we will learn as we go. And I'm so appreciative of everybody who did sign up, who's willing to take this journey with us. So thank you, everybody.
Exactly. And so just a reminder, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them, but also click on the thing that's within whichever Facebook group you're watching this from. Click on the StreamYard thing, because that's what allows us to know who's talking.
Otherwise, you're just a Facebook user until I can go back and figure out where you posted the comment, and love to give everyone a shout out. So thanks for participating.
So whoever wrote progress, not perfection, that's a great pearl. It just says Facebook user, so we don't know who you are. So if you would click that StreamYard thing, so we know.
A secret agent.
Yep. Exactly. Right. So what changes to business or personal do you want to do going forward? And this is mine every year. I am not a morning person, and I am most certainly not a morning person this time of year when it's so dark when I wake up. But it's always, I want to get up. I want to, and I do get up, but I'm in my, but I'm still in my bed, or I'm still in my pajamas, and the lights are dark, and maybe I'm texting or emailing or doing stuff. But I always, I think I want to get up and I want to, ride my Peloton at 6 a.m.
That's because we start working at 3:30 in the morning.
That's when I can't sleep. So are you being funny, Ellis Wong? Ellis Wong tried to get me to go to the gym at like 5:30 in the morning. I think I went with her twice. It was a nightmare. Bernadette Day and I were doing, we were, trying to wake up at 5 in the morning. She did great, and she even entered a fitness competition. I, on the other hand, So again, for me, that's what I want to change again for this year. But you know what? It's still always going to be on my thing until I get it done. It's going to still be there. What are the new habits that you need to implement? Is one of your habits something like make your schedule and stick to it? So even if you make a lunch appointment with a friend, don't ditch that friend because some buyer called you off of Zillow and needs to see the house now. Your schedule is your schedule. Maybe that's, stick to your schedule. I don't know. I don't know if that's what your issue is. Um, and what things could happen going forward that you don't have any control over? And obviously 2020 is a good lesson for that. What things potentially could happen that you don't have any control? And like I said earlier, but then you can take control. So in 2020, we all took control because we all started to do things virtually. We changed how we were doing photos. Maybe we started doing Matterport. But for sure, like Matthew Stebbins said, knowing your weaknesses will definitely help you overcome issues. So if you can figure out what those are, and then within the thinking inward, what are the times of the year when you really felt like you were in your groove? And honestly, for me, a lot has to do with the sun. So I am much better in spring and summer. And then as fall and winter come around and we have less sunlight and less, that's not good for me. So I need to find ways to overcome that to get going. When you felt like you were in the slump, how do you think you got there, and how did you get out of it? That's a big one,
I think we all felt that this year in March. I mean, it could have all happened in March. I think we all felt that in some way just because of the unknown.
Yeah, for sure. And then whatever goals and directions you set for yourselves, how might that change going forward? And what are you most proud of right now? Think about that.
I'm proud that we did this. I'm proud we're doing those, weekly trainings. I mean, I'm glad. I feel like we're giving back. We're helping, and I think we all have changed over this year. So,
yeah, for sure. And then the last part of this, and if you're seeing my comments, I'm trying to type and talk and look at my book of those. So don't mind my typos. So now thinking outward, how do you think other people perceive you? I'm always surprised by that. Because I think people perceive me as a really outgoing person, and I'm really not. Like, I'm really extroverted, and it takes a lot for me but once I am there and I'm in my groove, or I know people, I'm okay, but people don't know that I'm introverted, so how do people see you? How do you rate, here you go, amongst your competition? Now that's more a business question. How do you rate amongst your competition, and are you exceeding them? And it's not always about being number one. So when I say, are you exceeding them, it may not be, well, your biggest competition in your mind is the guy who sold, 100 houses last year. But is your competition, for me, I always say it's about the bottom line on my tax return. So maybe I don't spend as much as the other guy, but maybe I make more. So how are you feeling amongst your peers and your competition? Here's a good one. Are there any new pieces of technology you feel like you need to learn?
There's so much out there.
Oh my gosh.
So crazy.
It's constant. It's constant and it's ever changing. And as I get older, it's a lot to learn and changing your ways. And it's a lot to learn, but I always want to, I want to learn what's happening next, and I don't want to get stuck in the old ways. So what's out there here, StreamYard, which is how we're doing this. That's a whole new thing for me. Heather handles it for us, but I should probably learn how to use it, how it works, so that in case something happens, she's sick one day, I have to do this on my own. Do you feel like you've missed any opportunities this year, and that you should have taken advantage of, and maybe you can still implement them into 2021. And lastly, for thinking outward, how do you want to impact others' lives? And those others could be your mother, it could be your children, it could be your coworkers, it could be your customers, your clients, or strangers even. It could be strangers' lives. And so, how do you want to impact others? Think about that. So on the next,
that's a big one, because we're always talking about that, giving back and what can we do, and that goes with the why.
Yep, totally goes with the why. So what's your why? So take some time, and if you have, write down what your why is, and if you succeed, what that brings you, and if you don't succeed, how is that going to make you feel? But what is your why? I mean, for me, a lot of it is I love helping others. I love helping others, and then part of the why is to create a good life for my children, and make sure the rest of my mother's life is good. So if I can, I just lost my screen. So if I can, there we go. So if I can help to impact, those lives of the people around me, uh, that's what I want to do. And what happens if I don't succeed? Is do my kids not get to go to the college they want to go to, or but that's always a learning lesson as well. So take some time to look at your why. Now the next is just the wheel of life, and it's all the subjects that we like to talk about and think about, and give yourself a rating on each of those things. So if in career you think you're a 1, you're going to put a dot closer to the middle of the pie. But in, say, health, you think you're close to a 10, you're going to put a dot to the outer part of the pie, and see how this connects. Is it a circle that is a circle, or is it an oval, or is it a star? What is it? And that'll help you to look at those things that you need to continue to work on. Obviously I've already told you all what it is. For me, it's health, and it's personal growth, and I probably need to work on the fun and recreation as well, because I think I work too much.
No, and that's the same thing as it's trying, work hard, play hard, and that's always my biggest issue. Is when you love what you do, it's like you're not working every day, but trying to balance the family and work. And I always struggle with that, because I love what I do, and sometimes I do that too much. And especially since this whole COVID thing, it's just been a lot of that. So I'm trying to make sure that I take a break and refuel myself.
Yeah.
And that's always hard for me. It's really hard for me 100%, because I enjoy what I do.
Yeah, for sure. And now, especially because we all have this and we're attached to it like 24/7. I watched that documentary, The Social Dilemma, yesterday, and there's a lot of takeaways from that, a lot. So I suggest you watch it, but one of the ones for me is to just put your phone away for whatever. I mean, we have always had the rule the phone has to go away at dinner or other things, but for me, I think even a little bit more than that, the phone needs to go away.
That's good. My playtime is in the mountains, and I don't have a choice.
So that's awesome.
So it's nice, because I can't ignore, even though I have my phone goes on silent at certain times. But it is kind of cool when I do go play and I'm up in the mountains. It's like no work is coming in. I'm not ignoring anybody, because I just end up putting it on airplane mode, so it's not, killing my battery, so I can still and that is working right now. That's kind of nice, because
it's a break.
I don't know that I'm missing anything, because nothing's coming in.
Right. So 2 Sundays ago, I was at the beach, and I had my phone because that's how I was playing music. And then I got a text from an agent who was having an issue. And so I call him, and the first words out of my mouth were, "You're interrupting my beach time." Oh my goodness. But his issue was, he had a seller who has a condo on the ocean, and an agent went in with his buyers and their dog. And so then we had to have a talk about that. Was it a service animal, or were they just bringing their dog, and how he wants to handle it? And the homeowner, although this was a second home, is allergic. So anyway, gosh, this business, there's always stuff going on. So take a minute, just to look at that and kind of rate yourself on how you're doing in your wheel of life. And then we have 8 questions that we need to ask yourself. What is your vision? What is your vision for the future? Value. What value do you offer, and what is your value proposition? Where will your business be? What are your financial goals? And what's your primary goal? What's your primary focus? Then with marketing, what marketing strategies are you going to use? And it's funny, we used to do Tom Ferry a lot, and he offers a lot of marketing strategies. And what he always said, you don't have to do all 10, pick the 4 that you like. I always say, pick the 4 or the 3, whatever it is, the ones that you're good at, depending on how many that is, add 1 or 2 more that are going to put you out of your comfort zone or help you to get more business. And I'll be honest, there's certain ones I'm just never going to do. I am never going to door knock. I'm not. That reminds me of childhood, when you used to have to sell things back in the 70s and go door to door and knock on the neighbors' doors. It was horrifying. I hated it.
I hated it, and I would always wait until I had to babysit the kids down the street and let them do it. I couldn't do it.
So, but what marketing strategies are you going to do? And then activities. And we're going to get into this a lot more on I don't know if it's the next segment or the segment after. What are your daily and weekly activities? And really, you don't have to put them on your calendar, but make a calendar or a list where you're time blocking, and, weekly, maybe every Thursday you're going to lunch with a friend. And you make that always on Thursdays. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you're going to the gym at 6 a.m. or at 6 p.m., whatever it is. When are you doing your prospecting? So what are your weekly activities? And then you should be tracking all of this. That has always been the hard part for me. So I don't know if you track it on the dreaded phone, you track it on your email, or I always used to have paper where I would track. I talked to this many people on Facebook. I talked to this many people out in person. I did this many, we'll do the 5-5-4-2 in another segment. But, sometimes just print that paper out every day and keep track of what you're doing so that you stay on track. So keep track so that you stay on track, right?
It's a big part of any part of your business planning. And I time block for a lot of things. And I know we use Asana because it's like a visual, and I like to be able to check things off, but I still always have my little book, because even though I can check, I like to scratch off too. So
right,
multiple different ways.
Right. And even this year, because we're doing this virtually, we always do the vision boards, and we usually provide you guys with a board and the magazines and the markers and the glue and the scissors. It's all still in our training room. But are you going to do your vision board that way, or are you going to do it virtually? I downloaded a couple of apps over the weekend. We'll talk about it, before we end the session. You could do it. You could do it on your phone. I think you did yours in Canva. So how are you going to keep track of what you're doing? Okay. So next is then, what's your personal vision for 2021? So that's talking about, you personally, whether it's spiritual or family or health or health and wellness, personal growth. And then what's your professional vision for 2021? Do you want to build a team? Do you want to disband a team? Are you finding maybe that real estate sales isn't for you? Should you be a transaction coordinator? Or are you a transaction coordinator and you want to get into sales? Are you going to grow your business, or are you going to keep it level? And however, whatever it is you want to do with your business is up to you, and it's fine as long as it works for you. I think a certain amount of growth is always important, but it doesn't always have to mean financial growth. Although when we get to the what's your goal for 2021, I'm going to make you double what your goal for 2020 was. So, but honestly, whatever you
I mean, it's a complete personal choice on this. I mean, my personal, it could be with the family and things I want to do at the house. And then my professional, probably will have a lot more to do with tech, videos, stuff like that. I think it's all where we are in our business and our life. Every year, this is completely different for me. I mean, this is all about your mindset and preparing. It's all the visual. It's the visual aspect. So writing these notes and knowing like what do you want? It's putting thought behind it, which will help you with when it comes to like homework and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. So I turned my book back. So we're kind of there now. We're at the vision board part. So when you're doing your vision board, if you can break it up into 3 sections, Heather, you talk about that part a little bit more.
Yeah. So different things. So whether you want it to be right now, so your vision for 2021, what is that going to look like? I also have always added aspects for what's your 5-year, what's your 10-year, and I make my kids do this. I mean, they probably think I'm corny, but I want them to really put thought into have that inspiration, that drive. What drives you? What do you want to see in yourself, for next year? What do you want in 5 years? Because some things are not immediate. I mean, I know for me that the mountains and retirement or whatnot, I always want to see that vision. Like this is where, all these 1 years eventually lead to this 5-year and 10-year. And I figured I would show mine, if I can, I'll quick, sharing way too many windows here and what I'm doing. Let's see here. So I figured I would kind of share mine. I did mine in Canva. In the different groups, I am posting a link. The recap of today will also have links to different apps, programs, whether you use PicMonkey, PowerPoint, anything like that. They will all have different ways that you can do it. I personally just use Canva. Normally, it is all about, let's move this over here. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah. So I used Canva. So for me, I know a couple years ago was getting my Mustang convertible, which is something I've wanted to do since I was, I think, growing up, my father used to rehab and redo stuff, and I always wanted one, but then I ended up getting like a Fusion because the Mustang completely was not practical. I'm like, I have an English Mastiff and a Great Dane, and I'm not going to be able to take either of them to the vet in a Mustang, so that didn't work. So I got another one. Now I'm up here. I've ordered my Bronco, although I still have a hard time at the cost of those since I drive like twice a month.
You ordered it? Did you really?
Heck yeah, first week. Hello.
Wow. Did you pick that cool bluish, grayish color?
We don't get to actually order until December, but they're actually having a show, I believe, this coming weekend in Gatlinburg. So I'm going to go check them out in person. But for me, it's just more, we do a lot of Jeeping and stuff like that. So I want to have something I can go off-road, but just like a convertible type, whatnot. I have high school diploma. I mean, that's definitely something that my daughter's a junior. We're in this whole online atmosphere. So my goal is the constant challenge. I've got to get her through high school. So that's on there. Our podcasting, I mean, that's been on there for years. I want to continue that, figure out, I have all the audio files. I have to figure out how to actually put that in there. Doing more video, adding to the learning management system that we have. I have my kitchen and bathroom remodel. Family playtime is a huge thing. We have the white water rafting like all over the place this summer. We didn't get to do anything, but it was definitely an odd year for everybody. So didn't really go out. My kids are working and stuff like that, but I want to make sure that we are doing more camping and doing more things as a family. And as I mentioned before, it's always a struggle. Instagram, there's different things I want to play and learn how to do. So this is just, for me, there's work, but there's a lot of personal on here, but it's something I put as my desktop. It's something that I put, I always have it, we do it on that big poster board and all that. And it's always just hanging up in my office. So it's something, when you do your vision board, whether you're doing it digitally, whether you're doing the scissors and pasting, make sure that you don't just do it, set it and forget it. Make sure it's in a place that you look at every day, because it's something.
I like the desktop idea. Or even the screensaver on this dreaded device.
But I think this is so important, because it's that visual reminder every day. It's not going to be, the rest of the business planning so we have the visual, it's the first part of this business planning. And then basically we work backwards. Like, in order to achieve this, our goals, what do we need to do? What do we need to make? And then we're going to work backwards to this number. So this is a huge part. It feels, it always seems somewhat elementary, the whole, especially when we're in there with the arts and crafts.
Right.
But for me, this vision board was a complete game changer when we added this. And it's that visual reminder every single day when I sit at my desk to remember why I have this goal. And this is my why right here. This is my why. And it's a visual reminder as we move forward with business planning on how to get to these whys.
I have to say, if you remember our first year one, I was like, oh, vision boarding. Like, I thought we were allotting way too much time to it, and everybody loved it, except we had one person, and he was like, I'm not going to do it. This just isn't me. And he sat there for about 20 minutes and did nothing. And then 20 minutes in, he started cutting and pasting. It was like,
it was definitely weird the first time we did this. But for me, that was the game changer. I mean, in writing, I've had the mountains for 10 years.
Right.
But I mean, it really ended up happening the year after. It was a visual, poster board at my desk. And my why was right there. And then it just kind of happened. So
I hair on my face. Yeah. I mean, I think it really does help you to focus on what you want to do. And it's funny because seeing your kitchen and bath on there, I've lived in my house for 9 years. It needed to be remodeled when I moved in 9 years ago. And now it's like, ugh, how am I going to even do this? Do I just put everything in a pod? Do we live in an Airbnb for a few months? Or do we just work around the mess? I don't know, but I need to get that on my vision board for sure. So what the vision board is really doing for you, well, first is do your vision board and then drop in a social post on your social profile one of your goals, and then tag us, #recharge2020. As you set up your goals. And that's what I was saying. I downloaded a couple of different apps. Oops, they're down at the bottom. There are free. There we go. There are free vision boarding apps. I downloaded 2 of them. I haven't started to play, and you can pay and get more. Whereas they'll supply the pictures. Whereas these usually you have to take and supply the pictures. So
really, because this is something that's for you, you could go on Google and I know even before when we were doing the copy and paste. I actually just went to Google and Googled, and then put that in there. And Canva, if you have the Pro, you have the photo section, just do searches or go to Google and just save those. It's for yourself. So I'm not worried about the whole copyright. It's just like a visual for myself on there. But, we have different gift cards. So we have weekly activities and stuff like that. Let's see. Someone asked, do I have an outline for the vision board?
Well, then
No,
she followed it up with template, really, is what she's asking more.
No, that was like right here. So this is basically my template. So I have, what do I want to see? So almost half the board is going to be 2021. What does that look like? And then make sure that you have that 5 and 10 year, the future goals that will probably be on your board for a while. But, for me, the college, with the kids has been on my board for a long time, and now it's like, the senior, now I have the junior, but those will probably be on there for a while. So, I mean, the mountains has been in that 10-year, 20-year goal, and now I'm finally here. So I think it's really up to you as you're doing it. But for me, you can see I have my kitchen and bath. Will it happen immediately? Not sure. But retirement plan, there's so many different things like, high school. So I think having immediate, but also having that future that you can always look at. There's not really a template. For me, it's just a visual. So I add some words that, I think for many years I had that progress, not perfection. It was the only way I was going to get through trying to add video to my business plan. Video's been a huge part, but that constant reminder to just do it and learn as I go, because that's basically how everyone, when they're starting with video, it's the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll be. So that was a big thing for me. But, these words are a big part. Those are just on Canva, or I just look up motivations and stuff like that. I have a bunch of different articles. So if you've registered, you'll get that in your recap email. Also in the private group, I will be posting links to different apps or websites to help you with inspiration and different WordPress, or different vision board applications. I personally just use Canva. You could use PowerPoint. You could use Word. You could print and copy paste on a piece of paper, whatever works for you. This is the first time that we've done it digitally, but it's my screensaver. It's been printed. It's like going to be in front of my face, in front of, right behind my computer. So it's all up to you. There's no right or wrong. Everyone's, I think that's what I'm going to miss the most about doing this in-house, because I love how everyone's board will look completely different. It's unique to you. So the homework is doing your vision board, whether you post, a picture of it or a picture of you, use that, in the private group. So it's just all of us that have registered, feel free to do that. Use that hashtag. And then when we do our next Monday, when we start our part 2, we'll have a gift card to give away for somebody who participated.
So
that's fun, right?
Right. So the 3 important things about your vision board is be, do, and have. Be who or what you want to be. What do you want to do? And what do you want to have? And those 3 things should help you figure it out and help you get your vision board going. So, is
that it? They get to go vision boarding now? So that's their homework?
That's their homework.
We'll send a recap. If you have not registered, there should be links. If you would like to register, you'll get the recap videos, homeworks, links. Get the link for the private group. We have about 50 of us that have registered up through this morning. So it's just a nice little kind of safe place just for those if you have questions or want ideas. That's just a nice little safe place for anybody to kind of join, just with a little group. But of course, if you have any questions, drop your comments in the thread, in the group, email us. I'll be sending out a recap as soon as this video downloads so that you can have access to those afterwards.
And then real quick, with the homework that you sent out when people registered, that was about what was that about? That was about finding out how much you did and how many transactions you did, and that we'll be using in the future. So if you haven't done that homework, make sure you get that homework done. And
knowing your numbers is a huge part of your business plan. As much as we don't like to look at those, but I think it's a crucial part to understanding where you're at, where you want to be, and how we can get to where you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you always say when we end? Sorry. What do you
Wake up, kick ass, repeat. Do your vision boards, tag us, post it, and for a chance to win, have fun. And of course, if you have any questions, you know how to find us.
Thanks. Everybody have a great week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.